Welcome back to the Gold Creek Extended Cut podcast. We dive a little bit deeper into the weekend message. My name's Nick, and this is
Mike,
who you know.
I'm a regular.
You are. I'd like to point out, have you worn that hat on this podcast before?
I hate you.
Mike's done a half Ironman, and you're gearing up for another half Ironman.
Dude, I'm going to do 2 next year.
2 half Ironmans?
I'm going to do 2 of them. I'm going to do one in July and one in September.
Does that count as a full?
No. Okay. I am a couple years out.
Because you were telling me, actually, hey, if there's anyone in the Ironman community, you were telling me that there's not a significant difference between a half and a full.
Bro. Such an idiot, dude.
So if you are a full Ironmaner, Mike was just pointing out that it's really not that different.
And Nick also struggles at telling the truth. So
you're saying it's like a stone, like once it gets going downhill, it's just going.
I mean, if you're round like me, maybe.
There you go. You have a good summer?
Yeah, dude. Summer was good.
Okay.
Went to Chelan a handful of times.
Dude, Chelanistan.
Chelan's the best. Did a lot of home projects at the house.
Great.
Dude, chickens are doing great. That's actually not true. We got 4 more chickens.
Bro.
Tell
me you live in Monroe without telling me.
We have 4. Okay. We got 4 more. And then I just tried to put them into the freaking coop with all the other ones. And 2 of them got pecked to death, dude. So I had to pull them out.
Pecked to death, bro?
Yeah, dude. Literally, I could see the skull on one of the chickens. I had to throw it away, dude.
Dog.
Yeah, so 2 of them are out now. I'm trying to get them bigger and stronger before I throw them in so they can fight back.
Pegged to death is crazy.
Yeah, I came back from Chelan and there was 2 dead ones in there. And the other 2 were like hovered up on each other.
How long does it take to get pecked to death, do you think?
It was 2 days that we were gone.
Okay.
And,
I mean, hopefully not 2 days of...
I don't know, dude. I probably shouldn't have done it before I left.
Maybe maybe there's just like one good peck that was like a good once and for all.
I also am thinking
punch.
Maybe it was really hot. It was like 90-something degrees here.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if they didn't get up to the water and the food. And what actually killed them was they weren't having water and food in the heat. Because they were scared of
way
the pecking.
Worse, dude. That's...
So, dude, this is great.
So you dehydrated your chickens.
Summer was great, dude. How about your summer?
Mine was good. I don't have any stories to tell of animal deaths.
No, you do. You had an owl in your yard.
Oh, dude, that was crazy. Yeah, one morning, go out, the owl laying sad. So I looked it up, and then it's like, it could mean, I don't know what I'm saying. There could be historical significance that it's like bad, or for some, it's like good.
In what culture is that a belief?
So I think some native cultures. Yeah, I believe so.
Just curious.
In the Bible, the owl, I did look this up. In the Bible, the owl is really not, it kind of represents like barren landscapes, but not dead owls. Owls are just live owls are like in the desert. That's when the owls roll in. So
got it.
My theory was my wife, I held the bag. Krista picked it up.
Yeah, your wife is tougher than
you. I mean, about stuff like that. And other things, most things. So
again,
dead animals, home projects, physical toughness. I mean, those are, I outshine her in like baked goods.
Got it. So, that is important.
It's important to me. So then we turned it over, and there was like a little like blood on the back of its head. So we were like, ooh, was this like an owl on owl crime? Like what happened here?
Owl on owl crime.
But then the other thing that I looked up, so I called Fish and Game too, and they were like, just put in a plastic bag.
Yeah, just throw it away.
What? You guys don't want to, I feel like I don't see owls a lot. So,
yeah.
But then I was looking it up, and they said what can happen is maybe it ate some like poison. So it could have been, and they just clear cut all those trees.
Yeah.
Over off Cathcart, which I know is controversial to my HOA friends. But they clear cut all those. So I'm like, okay, if it ate something or it ate something that had eaten something, who knows? But it was like intact. It was wild. It was like Harry Potter. It's a big owl. It's like 2.5 feet tall.
Wow.
Posted up.
Come on. Wild summer, dude.
Wild summer. Week 5, Full Force Faith.
Full Force.
Did you preach this Sunday?
Did not. You preached for me in Monroe, dude.
Okay.
This guy, dude.
I got to, first time speaking in Monroe. What a community.
Dude. Come on.
Front row seat. God's on the move. Love it. We talked about sharing your faith, which was interesting. It's an interesting topic. You know the stat that's like people are like, what was it for? I don't think this was even Gen Z. I think this was like millennials. But it would be like millennials did not want to share their faith with people. Do you remember this stat?
Yeah.
It was like X amount of people believe Jesus is real, but they like think it's wrong. It's like 70% of Christians.
You almost feel like it's rude or like almost immoral to try to convince somebody of
Interesting.
their.
Do you think that's changed?
Depends on what we mean by share our faith. What do we mean by that? Because I think, just to be honest, I grew up in church, private Christian school, then public school, and middle school, high school.
Okay.
When I
Big change.
Was
little Mike in shock? Were you like, my goodness?
I thrived, dude.
Dumb, dude.
So dumb, dude. Stalled junior high in Puyallup, Washington.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Come on, dude.
The hood.
No, it's okay. What was I talking? When I was a kid growing up, when I thought about sharing my faith, it was like presentation of the details of the gospel. If that's what we mean by sharing my faith. Yeah, sure. Probably not very good at it.
Okay.
But if we mean something different. In terms of sharing what God has done in my life, sharing the hope that comes in a relationship with Jesus, I would say, which is why I think sometimes millennials would be like, oh yeah, that's not how we present, because we think about the guy on the side of the road. With the sign going, you're going to burn.
What about the idea of converting people? Where do you think you're at? Where do you think people are at on that?
Where do I think people are?
Yeah. Because I think that was the way that question, if we're talking about the same Gallup poll, or I can't remember exactly, but it was like, is it wrong to try to convert people? And I think a lot of people were like, yeah, it's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, the answer to that question is no, I don't think it is wrong.
Right.
I think that people have an uncomfortability around it. It's almost this idea of, I feel like sometimes in our world today, people look down a little bit on Jesus people at times for their worldview on certain things being contrary to the world, and going, oh, you're brainwashing your kids or whatever. It's like, well, don't we do that in everything that we teach? Everyone is being taught something, and I don't know.
I feel like that, it's interesting because I don't know that anybody's defined that like it has shifted, but I do think you're right. I mean, I think all of the stuff of from schools and this idea of indoctrination, I feel like the last few years have kind of been like, wait a minute, everybody's doing it. Yep. They're just doing it in more quote unquote sinister ways or sneaky ways, or there's kind of a hidden agenda here or whatever. And so it's like less offensive. Again, I don't think the data has, like, nobody's done a survey or a study yet, I don't think. But it's almost like, it's not wrong to do that anymore because everybody else is evangelizing everything else.
Yeah, their agenda, whatever they believe, whatever they're trying to push. Yeah,
because if you think of, I would say, one of the things we talked about over the weekend was like this idea of maybe capitulation, of like this. I feel like that had been, at least for me, that was like the dominant way that people wanted Christians to approach it. Of, hey, that can be true for you, but doesn't have to be true for me, which like sounds nice. But that's where I feel like I come to like, well, if we're going to be intellectually honest, and I believe what I'm saying about Christianity is that it's going to inform every aspect of my life and my eternity, this cannot just be some innocuous like moral code.
Yeah, works for me, but
no, but not for you.
Or doesn't have to. It's like,
I must really hate you to not share the gospel with you then. I mean,
who's that magician? I think it's Penn and Teller. You ever heard about them? The bigger guy. He says, if Christianity's true, then most people that call themselves Christians are the most evil people in the world because they don't share what they actually believe.
Dude, job, Penn, or Teller. I think right? Like how much do you have to hate someone if you believe this to be true to not share it with them?
Yeah, 100%.
And now I do think for me growing up in church, mostly in church or in and out of church, and especially by the time I got to college, it was more like, hey, here's like a rubric, like here's kind of like what you can follow. And I think that's where people I'm sure that worked. Maybe somebody listening, like, yeah, like I came to Jesus that way.
You're talking about like rubric in terms of like, these are the steps that you got to communicate in order to get the Romans Road.
The Romans Road or whatever that is.
Gospel tracks, dude.
The gospel tracks.
They still do those at Masters, bro.
Love it, dude.
My baseball coach would hand them to us and say, go, Pat. I'm like, bro.
To the other team, dude? Like,
Not
hey,
to the
I know
other team, dude.
you struck me out, but like, I would like to.
And I definitely cussed on the way back to the dugout, but here's
gonna strike out your eternity.
Stupid.
Ball 4, walk into heaven.
That's the worst joke I've ever heard.
Oh, man. Yeah, but I feel like that just reeked inauthentic. So that's the other thing.
For sure.
Dude, like I had this really weird, when I first moved here a few years ago, I had this like really bizarre, I'll truncate it and I won't try not to use, but like it was a dude who, he came out to try to see about mowing my lawn because we didn't have a lawnmower yet. I'm like, I just want to could you mow it? You know, I don't know. And then he had this like Bible verse, an eagle on the side of his truck. And so to be honest, I was just trying to get a deal on my yard. And I was like, hey man, like I'm a Christian. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so then he launched into this whole thing about like, you know, he had really, really specific language, like, do you preach the full counsel of God? Which I was like, I think I do, you know, but what do you mean by that? And then it escalated. And then he was like, you know, sent me all these things about how I'm, you know, doctrinally inaccurate. And just, it was just like a little bit like kind of wacky. And I shared this story for a reason, but I don't remember. I know. So, and then, you know, so like that dude like thinks he did it right that day.
For sure.
That was what most bothered me.
Yeah.
Is like, man, somewhere this guy's at home, like, boy, I made a difference today. That's the accent I give him because that's his vibe. Yeah. And I kind of felt like that in terms of like sharing your faith.
Yeah.
It could turn into that. Like, okay, well, I walked 4 random people on a bus through the Romans Road.
Yep.
And so I think maybe what people were reacting to, the reason millennial Christians at the time were like, I don't want to share my faith. Maybe what people were reacting to is like how inauthentic that feels.
For sure.
Because it's kind of like, I'm going to share my faith with you so I feel better about myself.
Yeah. And even, I feel like sometimes people go about it in a way that is just feel like very hard and stern with the like justification of like, well, Jesus says we're going to be hated for our faith. And it's like, well, that doesn't mean you're getting, you're intentionally being a jerk. You know what I mean?
100%. And I mean, yeah, good point. And I mean, broadly speaking, I think I'm like, well, like there's no other arena of your life that you're hated for being a Christian, quote unquote, for people like that. So if they're like trying to pick fights with random people, like in public transportation and like, oh yeah, I'm persecuted. It's like, hang on. Like,
yeah, no, you brought that on yourself.
You live in America. Your life's really great. You know, let's hang tight on that. Yeah. What about the other thing I think that's interesting? I don't know the answer on this, Mike. This is good extended cut content. So I feel like a lot of times people will kind of use the Bible, as we believe in the Bible, but like people will use the Bible and be like, okay, I'm going to tell you why your worldview is wrong. And I've always had this problem, I think, for people where they're using the scripture as a assumed authority to people who do not share that worldview.
That's it. It's the same thing as we sometimes in the church look at quote unquote the world as people that are sinning because they don't follow what scripture says when they don't have that as a worldview to go off of. And so it's the same thing. We're using a thing to prove something that they don't believe in. So they don't believe in the thing that we're using. Like we should use scripture to inform how we're communicating. Like this is accurate, what I'm saying. But we should be pointing to something in their world that they see as important or to draw them in, that we can all kind of glean to.
Which hopefully is us, you know.
I mean, if we are.
If you're in relationship with that person, hopefully that person or that orientation toward like something, the orientation of like, how do I start this conversation? Probably examining your life to a degree.
Yeah, we are ambassadors of Christ.
There you
so
go.
how we
like
live
that.
does matter.
Yeah.
The scripture says God is making his appeal to the world through us.
Yes.
So it's not what we say, what we even believe per se, but what we do with our daily lives.
Yeah, I think about that because, like this weekend, one of the things we're talking about, the text in Acts, Paul goes to the Areopagus, men of Athens, I can see in every way you're very religious, and you've had this statue to an unknown God. And I do think it's interesting that, like, I'm not going to name any names, that wouldn't be productive, but like I feel like some perhaps voices in Christianity, influential pastors, like one of the things I've noticed, a lot of people do these kind of hot take videos, reaction vids.
It's because they get
views. Yeah, for sure.
They get the views,
in fact,
dude.
Maybe we'll do one here. So I don't mean to.
Stay tuned, dude.
Stay tuned.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I do. But like it's like a reaction video or something, and then they'll be like, "Well, here's why this person's an idiot."
Yep.
Or like, "Well, the Bible says this, and they're not living this out." And nothing wrong with clickbait, I guess. I feel like what is difficult about that is like, obviously what Paul does in his approach is he finds the common ground first.
For sure.
And I just thought, I could do a better job of that.
Where do you feel like that plays out? Like in your personal life?
I mean, I think, I probably do. And I don't believe in them. So, I mean, there's that. But like, I definitely, if somebody's putting a lot of stock in their horoscope, let's just say, and deep down, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, what are you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
It's like the hand palm reader at the fair, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
and as opposed, so this is never, I don't ever tell them like, you idiot, you know what I mean? That's not coming out, but I'm like, well, I probably could do a better job of if somebody says that to me somewhere, kind of using that as like an entry point. Like, well, man, you seem like you're curious about your future. Seem like you're curious of like, is there something other than me that explains the world, or like using it as a point of like hunger
for sure
to expand the conversation.
Got it. How would you respond to somebody that would say, yeah, but what you believe is just as ridiculous?
Well, I would say
virgin birth. You know
Parting
of the Red Sea.
Oh, dude,
the whale.
The whale is tough. I've been reading Jonah. I mean, I would say that's where personally, I would encourage people to take Alpha. Jump on Alpha with us.
Come on, dude.
Shameless plug. September 16th, starting at 6:30 here in Mill Creek. Our Monroe location is going to be in with us as well.
In the house.
Anyway, because I think one of the things Alpha does do, so that's a good example. Like, let's say somebody's curious about their horoscope or palm reading or star alignment or Mercury's in retrograde. We all know, I think that if people are going to be intellectually honest, the natural question after that is like, because they're really saying, is something true, that's beyond my understanding?
Yeah, what is the question they're actually asking?
Does something else explain the world or my life, or why am I the way that I am? The natural question after that, I think, if you're going to be intellectually honest, has to be like, well, how do I know what's true? So then if you're going to explore Christianity, that's where I'm like, well, the compelling evidence for the resurrection of Jesus Christ is tremendous. I mean, it's not, none of us can go back in time, but if we examine the archaeological and sociological evidence for Christianity, it is pretty overwhelming. And that, I think, is interesting. I think an interesting thing about Christianity is like, it is not based on the teaching of a person or the morality even of a person. It's the event of the resurrection.
For sure. It all hinges there.
It does all hinge there.
Yeah.
Did this dead person come back to life?
Yeah. Therefore, if he did, what he said's probably important.
If he did, what's it mean?
Yep.
And all those things. So, I'm thinking what about you? Where does that play out for you?
It's a good question, man. I think sometimes often people, when you get into the conversation around God, what we believe about God, Jesus, the question of evil comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think you might have been the one that sent me this clip about, it was from Erwin McGinnis talking about, and he has some hot takes on certain things.
Yeah. He's hot taking it right now.
Say are really, really good. And he was talking about how someone will say, hey, if God is really good. Why does evil happen in the world?
Yeah.
And therefore, I don't believe in that God.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what if there is no God? Is there still evil in the world? And the person obviously has to answer, yes, there's still evil going on in the world. So it's okay. So whether you believe in him or not, evil still exists.
Yeah.
But what if that God is really angry that there's evil in the world and that there's justice to be had? And intro into the conversation.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Just going either way. I kind of talked about this a couple Sundays ago of like, I think when I was talking about power, even of just how we all want to see God move in mighty and powerful ways in our lives. As a believer, it might be we want to see God move in our friends and family that don't know who Jesus is. We want them to, draw them into a relationship. For the unbeliever, they still want God to do the mighty and powerful. They want to see the evil in the world go away.
They do.
So whether you believe in him or not, you still want to see the miraculous.
Yeah.
So in one way, shape, or form, you want him to be real.
Yeah.
And so
true.
It doesn't change the experience that we're in, right? No matter what. And so I think just sometimes with people that, like you were saying, it comes back to the what is the question behind the question? We're all trying to answer that. What is this meaning of life? And I think that's what I just try to get back to. And then obviously just present, and like we were talking about before, we are ambassadors of Christ. When people see the transformative work that's happened in me, I think it points to something greater.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But you gotta get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta get to where they can agree that we're both trying to answer the same question.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. At least to go like, hey, this could be true. And
I think most people, maybe not most people, unbelievers, people that don't believe in what we believe, I would say most people would be able to at least go, I can see how you get there.
Yeah.
Even if they disagree.
Yeah,
I don't think most people today are going, are looking at us and going, you guys are absolute imbeciles for what you believe.
Yeah.
Which then I think that's a healthy point that you can continue conversation.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. If it's true, is it compelling?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times too, for people, maybe it's not the evidence, maybe it's just time, it's like, I don't know how much of my life I want to give over to someone else or to submit to, or we like living life on our own terms. Did you go to the Monroe? Did you go to the Evergreen State Fair, by the way? Have you been?
Dude, I've been.
I heard the price of scones went up.
I do live about a mile away.
Oh, there you go.
Super close.
Walking distance.
No, dude, it was 95 degrees the day we went. No thanks.
True. Okay.
Scone prices are up, man. Inflation, $3 a scone.
Wow.
Insane. Not worth it, but did spend
those
the money.
Are good.
You get $3. That was crazy for a little biscuit and some
jam. Raspberry jam.
Yeah.
What man? How much? The big bag. How many is that? Was that 12?
12.
Okay, so that's the big boy.
I think it's 12 for 28 or
dollars USD.
15
dude.
for 12. $15.
No.
Sorry, for 6.
Right.
For 6.
15 for 6.
And then if you just want to buy one, it's $3.
So you get $2. You get one scone free, basically. Yeah. Baker's dozen.
Yeah. I think it is a Baker. Maybe it says Baker's
I think it is Baker's dozen.
So you do get 13.
You get 13. So I actually get 2 for the...
Sounds like a good investment, too.
Wow, dude. Oh, those fair scones.
Dude, fair scones, bro. Are you going?
Bro, I think so. I think we're gonna make a run at it sometime this week. I've never been. Never been to the old Evergreen State Fair.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Nick. I've gotten to know you better over the last few years.
Where are you going with this, Mike?
You just don't strike me as a fair guy.
No, but I'm a food guy. So
you're a little okay. Got it.
They got good. That was always my thing. If I'd go to the Puyallup Fair, which I'm sure you were just wreaking havoc at as a young man.
Got my first girlfriend at the Puyallup Fair.
That a boy, dude.
7th grade.
Stealth Middle School or whatever the frick you said earlier.
Dude, she asked me out, bro.
That's the kind of girl you want, huh?
It lasted a week, dude.
All right. Yeah. Well, creative differences.
Can't win them all.
I brought up the fair for a reason, but I don't remember what it was.
It was scones at first.
No, I know, but it was like people don't want it to be true. That's what it was. I wish the scones didn't have as many calories as they did. That's what I was thinking of.
It's a health food. What do you mean?
Yeah, I wish it would just fuel a lean protein mass, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But they're more yummy, So I think that's like that's where people are at in terms of some of the
Where?
in terms of some of the conversation around Christianity. It's like, well, I don't want to give up control because this is yummy. I just like it. I like my life on my terms. I like doing what I'm doing.
What do you think it takes for somebody to come to terms?
I think God has to work in their life. I think they can hit a crisis point, or I think they can just get tired of being in charge.
What do you think is most common?
Well, I think in our world today, I don't know if this will hold forever. I think in our world today, we've almost seen, like, I think you see this in the United Kingdom right now. Maybe I'll use them especially because they're so post-Christian, pre-Christian, whatever. Like, it is like we have seen the absolute maximization of secularism.
Got it.
We have seen like a fully secular society, fully secular schools, fully secular workplaces, everything. And it is kind of like, dude, life was not good. It wasn't like any, so I think for a lot of people, I would say tens of millions of people, that may be an exaggeration, but for tens of millions of people probably in the United States at this point, they're like, okay, wait a minute. All of the dreams of secularism I leaned into, and they didn't really make my life any better.
Got it.
Which
I think you're right.
is an interesting, because I'm like, I think it's Josh Howerton who says, we don't follow Jesus because he makes life better. We follow Jesus because he's better than life. So there is an interesting, like, yeah, you can't only jump into the faith, but maybe that. I think it's kind of like the, dude, I've kind of tried, everything else. Maybe not
For
like
sure.
drugs.
Yeah, there is the crisis moment where people are like, I don't know what to do, so they go to church, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think most commonly, I think one of the times I was on here, we were talking about like the bro podcasts and how those
When
guys
you had the same hat?
He brings it back.
Okay.
He brings it back.
A callback. Okay.
But how like that's become a little bit more mainstream. And I think in terms of Christianity being talked about, and I think you're right. I think it's because people have experienced everything that was promised, and it's like, man.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't know, it was like, dude, I tried it all. I was out there like smoking peyote and whatever.
Some people
were, and we love you. But for most people, it was just like, I kind of was going through life in the burbs, unaware and uninterested in God, and leaning into what everybody said was going to bring fulfillment. Like even, it's a dangerous one maybe, but I'm like, even family. I feel like that for a lot of people can become your God. Sure. I have a lot of friends who, which is good. It's good. It's a good thing to be a good husband, good dad, good mom, good son, daughter. But I'm like, if you lean in and your family will never like satisfy your whole life. For
sure.
That's a really sad thing to say.
It's also
for some people.
It's an unhealthy pressure to put on them.
No doubt, Mike. I'm going to save some of that content for the marriage series, but I got some thoughts.
Coming up, dude.
Coming up.
February, right?
Whew, yeah, that's deep. Okay.
February 2026. Stay tuned, dude. 6 months
Thinking
away.
about it now. Yeah.
Dude, people are on the edge of their seat. What are they going to say?
Nothing. Yeah. All right, dude.
Dude.
Good stuff.
Come on.
Thanks for checking out the Extended Cut podcast. See you next week. Woohoo!
Extended putt.
The expended
putt.
When did you just drop your head? That was so good.